We're now in Genesis 7, verse 18, and in the prior verses we saw the flood of waters, the cataclysmos, come upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. That is, the waters rushing from above and below. Now we're going to see a nice summary statement as to the effects of all of that water. Ke epikrate ta hudor, ke epleithunitas foldra epites geis, ke epheferata he kibotas epano tu hudatas. Well, you'll notice that there's a series of kai, so kai, kai, kai. This is just stringing these ideas together, almost compounding the effects of the verbs. And so the first verb here is epikrate. This is from epikrateo. That means to prevail, perhaps, to be strong, to win upon something. And there's going to be a third singular. Now you'll notice that there's an EI ending and the E here after the prepositional prefix. It's going to actually be an imperfect active indicative. Hold that thought on the imperfect. So the water here as the subject, the hudor, was prevailing, or it was overpowering, something to that effect. Then another kai, and what else is it doing? Epleithunitas from pleithuno, and you'll see the eta ending there, and then there's not really the epsilon on the front end. And so this is going to be a third singular imperfect passive indicative, and this means to multiply. And so the water was multiplied, and then we have sfoldra. And if you haven't seen that word before, this means greatly, or in a significant way, much, something like that. And it's translated in this case most likely ma'od, which means basically the same thing in Hebrew. So it was greatly multiplied upon the earth. So it's just a massive amount of water. We'll see in the next verse, by the way, for the next video, just how much it is in a certain sense. And then the final verb after the kai is epiphero. This is also a third singular imperfect middle indicative. You have the same ending, but in this case, I'll parse this as a middle. You see also the epsilon there after the epi. This means to bear up, to almost float upon, if you will, to be borne up upon. And here now it's the kibotas here. So it is bearing up, and then apano is above or upon the water. So in other words, you have the water here is overpowering, it's multiplying greatly upon the earth, and then the result is that the ark is able to essentially float up upon the water. So it is in effect setting sail here, it is embarking. A couple comments can be made about a few of these features. And this is from, again, Wevers's comments on Greek Genesis. And he makes an interesting comment that in the Hebrew, at least as we have it in the Masoretic, for this particular verb, epikrateo, is yigabaru, which means to be strong. He says the Genesis translator here is epikrate, as we've already seen, which means to be winning or to conquer. And so, in his opinion, the Genesis translator is portraying the waters as, in a sense, battling over everything on earth and emerging victorious, which, I mean, maybe that's a little bit strong, but I kind of like the idea there that there is this almost conquering sense whereby the hudor here is truly destroying all of the earth. And then I sort of mentioned that epikrateo, pleithuno, and then epiphero, all of those were imperfect. And the idea is that for a long period of time, you have the waters prevailing, you have the waters multiplying, you have the boat floating, if you will, the ark floating. And so he makes a comment, note the fine, in his opinion. It's a very nice use of the imperfect throughout, emphasizing the advance of the flood in intensity. Basically, the idea is just over and over again, the world is just being pounded by this water. So the imperfect is actually a really nice way to capture that. It's not an aorist in the sense that waters sort of just show up and then they're over with in a sense. It's like, no, he's trying to take us right into the middle of the flood just to see how bad and how long and how distressing it is. So the imperfect really nicely captures that. So that's Genesis 7, verse 18.